Okay, but we gotta talk about the Power Rangers. Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby and today I'm gonna be reviewing The Iron Widow by Xiran Jay Zhao. So this book is a brand new release coming out in September. I think it's September. It's coming out on 21st of September, but I got an arc. Thank you NetGalley gods, because then I realized that in UK it's October 7th and like I couldn't wait that long. So I got an arc for this on NetGalley and I was so happy. This was one of my most anticipated releases of 2021. I was so hyped for it. And the reason is that the author is a YouTuber that I love. They make videos about like Chinese culture in movies. So I think the first big video they did, the first video they ever did that exploded, was the new Mulan movie and how they like mess up basically the message and the Chinese influences. So that's the first video I saw from them, and then I've watched pretty much every single video since. I've been a big fan. I remember them mentioning this book like really early on before it had a cover or anything, or I don't even think I knew much about the synopsis. It just the title Iron Widow I thought was awesome. So I've been excited for this book a very long time, and I had a lot of expectations on it. And so we'll see if they were met, because I was so scared going into it. Terrified. So firstly, I think a little bit of a synopsis is in order. So like I said, it's YA sci-fi, but it's a reimagining of the rise to power of the first and only a female emperor, or female empress I get, but she was a female emperor. Like she didn't have a husband to rule with her in Chinese history ever. But like I said, it's a reimagining, so it's set in a sci-fi post-apocalyptic world. Many years ago, Earth was attacked by these creatures called Handens, I think, and they basically like wiped out human civilization. They had to bring it back and grow, and they created this thing called chrysalis. So chrysalis are these like big robots that can fight this Handen creature. Think Power Rangers, and think those like big robots that they can combine their little robots into, and you know, when they become a humanoid robot and fight with the monsters and the bad guys. Yeah, that's basic chrysalis. At least it is that in my head. So Power Ranger robots, I think they had a name, but I don't remember. I used to love Power Rangers. Anyway, so chrysalis robots, they fight these Hondens, these invaders, and they try to retake Earth. The way the chrysalises are powered is that there's one male pilot, one female pilot, and the male pilot is the one in charge. He's the one like leading the robot, but in order to be able to lead the robot, he needs to like tap into the key or the force of the female robot, and together they kind of like pilot the robot, right? The boy like be like kind of using the girl as a support mechanism. But what often happens is that the boy's key or his spirit strength is way higher and they're way stronger, so that they overpower the female mind, and women often die. So it's usually young girls, and they are called concubines, and each pilot has like their own little harem of concubines. Some of them also use them for like relationships or whatever. Being a pilot is like super coveted. Being a concubine, not really, because you die pretty much after one mission most of the time. Our main character, Zitian, she is a really poor girl living on the frontier with her family, and her sister volunteered to be a concubine. However, she was murdered, and it wasn't in battle, it was outside of battle. So Zitian is sure that this really well-known pilot just murdered her. So she decides to become a concubine as well and go and kill this pilot, and that's her one mission. But it kind of goes crazy array when she does kill him, but she kills him piloting the chrysalis, which is not heard of. Usually it's the girl that dies, not the boy. So she killed the boy pilot and comes out victorious, and that's something that's known as an Iron Widow. So then she gets paired up with this another pilot called Ximin, and he's like super powerful, so it's pretty much a death sentence. And it's her rise to power. So like I said, she's based on the first and only female emperor in Chinese history. It's a reimagining. It's not one-to-one history, it's not really a retelling even, it's a reimagining. Her name is the same, the themes discussed are the same, but the author said that they wanted to kind of discuss the themes of patriarchy, of power, of ruthlessness, of culture, all of that. They wanted to discuss these themes through the character of Xietian, but we're not there to like retell the story one-to-one. Now that I've been chattering forever about the synopsis, let me move on. As usual, I'm going to talk in sections, so if there's anything that particularly interests you, check out the bookmarks down below. First, let's talk about writing, and I kind of decided to choose the writing and the world together as a section because I have a lot to say on the world part as well as the writing. So I was just blown away by the world and how engaging everything was. It was just so fast-paced, imaginative, felt like a real place with so many different like components to it, and the writing was just really elevating the storytelling. Like the writing made it feel so exciting, so imaginative, so grand, so like big scale and flashy, and I don't know, just so many amazing feelings. And usually I'm not one for like big robots fighting or just any kind of fighting really, I just skim through those, but it was fascinating. And how they use the chrysalis, how they could morph it with their minds. And I especially love the fact that when the pilots are pirating, the bodies are just kind of slapped down, but you go into their minds and their mindscapes, and that was just so descriptive and interesting, intricate. I had so much fun reading those descriptions. Each person's mindscape's different. They have different memories. They have different like obstacles to overcome. And then they meet in this yin-yang realm. And it's just so fascinating to see them interact in it and how they see things. I don't know. I just loved how it was written. And I loved the world itself. It was really an interesting thing because it's post-apocalyptic, right? So we are to assume that the civilization that was destroyed was our civilization. So that's how far they got. And then after that was done, the chrysalis, the Hundans attacked, and it was basically nothing, and I'm kind of rebuilding. But there's also this concept and this aspect of the gods being like a real thing that are up in the sky, and we have to like make sacrifices for them to send us technology. So we're also not growing at the same rate. That's how we came up with the chrysalis. All of that super fascinating. And I loved how the world was like really modern on one hand, but really traditional on the other hand, because all the traditional values of like ancient China, and maybe not even a little bit of China now, like family, sons above daughters, family duty, propriety, all of that is really still in place, and it's very strict. So you have that, and how they dressed, which is like in an old style and stuff like that. So that contrasted with the modern parts of the world, which are just kind of like there's like a little bit of like Capital in Hunger Games, and there's even an element of them like doing interviews and becoming famous in the press, and like all these chrysalises are amazing, and they have like tablets and video and drones, all of that. So, and then the pilots like dress modernly, but like it's very futuristic. So both of those are like contrasted and create such an interesting world. I feel like often with like futuristic words, I'm kind of like expecting the society to be like more progressive or just like different and less I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Strict? I don't know, but it was interesting, this contrast. I really enjoyed it. Amazing writing, amazing storytelling. I loved it. The only like, I don't know if it's a complaint or I wish what could have been. So the author said on Twitter that the first draft they written was like way dark. Oh no, not even on Twitter. I think it was in the acknowledgements of the book. It was like, this book is way dark, and their editor or whoever, agent, whatever, said that that will never fly in YA. And my question is, why not make it adult? And I know money and I know reasons, but like, why not make it adult? Because it's not even just the sex scenes or whatever, because yeah, these were fade to black, which I was surprised, but it's not even just that. I don't really care about that, but I don't know, I feel like you could have made it darker and could have made it more ruthless. I mean, it's already pretty dark and pretty ruthless, but like, it could have been even more, and it could have, I feel like being adult would have maybe elevated it. That's just my opinion. I am a bit like, what could have been. The book was amazing as it was, so I'm not regretful there, but like, I thought it would be adult. I actually don't know if I thought it would be adult. I knew it was YA, but in my heart I thought it would be adult because the author's vibes our adult author vibes. But oh well, it ended up being YA. I think they did what they could with the restrictions and it all ended up working pretty well, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I want that unreleased draft of first unreleased draft that they keep talking about on Twitter. I want it. I want the 18 plus version, please. Okay, let's talk about plot. So plot was interesting throughout. The book was incredibly interesting, but I especially wanted to talk about the pacing because I thought it was done so well. So the book starts off big, fast, flashy, hardcore. I don't know. I mean, we start off Zitian like volunteering, right, and leaving the house. But like right after that, we have the first battle, then the second battle, first battle, then she's in prison, then the second battle. It was just like all out, and I was really into it. And I thought actually the fights with the robots with Chrysalis would continue happening way more than they actually end up. Like we only have a handful, and in retrospect, I actually think that was the right decision because each one felt so grand and exciting. If it was just like battle after battle after battle, it gets repetitive and boring eventually. So I think the way it was done made it more exciting, and I wanted to keep reading, and I was like really craving the battles, which I was surprised. And yeah, and we have that like fast, strong beginning, then we have like a slow, mellow middle where we're growing, we're meeting our characters, we're finding our synergy, we're developing all of the good stuff, and then big, splashy ending. Bam, bam, bam. You keep being at the edge of your seat. So much happened. Like, pacing was out of this world. I really, really enjoyed it. The only thing I would say is the epilogue was really cheesy. I don't know what it was about it. It just reminded me of like early 2000s YA, like dystopian novels ending epilogue. I really like what they did actually, and I'm really, really curious where we're gonna take it. I feel like there was a better way to figure it out than what we got. It just felt real cheesy. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. It didn't ruin the book for me or anything, but I just felt like the whole book was so masterfully crafted, and the epilogue felt like, and this, bam, there you go. It's done now. I don't have to think about how to incorporate it into the story. That's just how it felt. Yeah, but that was like the only part where I was like, come on now. But the rest I was like, come on now, come on, give me more. So it was awesome. Okay, now let's talk about characters. I just wrote holy crap Zetian. I've not seen the main character. Well, is that a lie? I was gonna say I've not seen the main character like that in a while, and it's partially true, partially not true. I feel like there is a rise of morally grey main characters. For example, I read She Who Became the Sun recently, kind of felt like that. The Wolf and the Woodsman kind of felt like that, but she's just on another level. I saw this awesome tweet. It said the main character gave Harley Quinn vibes, and oh my god, yes. The same level of border on insanity, but also awesomeness, but also ruthlessness, but also caring a lot. So it was a weird combo, but I loved it. Yeah, she's ruthless, but it just makes sense with her upbringing, but she also has a heart. She thinks it through, and I like how she uses her brain, not just her emotions. I feel like in the early 2000s YA, the characters were all soft and they could never make a bad choice, and they only cared about their family and their loved ones, and they always gave in, and they always made the right choice. And it was just boring. But no, here it's like she makes the ruthless choices, but it's the kind of choice you as a reader want to make, and it also seems to be really in character with what the Empress Zetian, the real historical figure, was like. Although, I mean, of course, she was a woman in power. They get villainized every single time, so there's probably some lies to what was attributed to her, like murdering babies and stuff, but she must have been a little bit ruthless, a little bit like ambitious to get where she was, because it was not easy. It was really hard work, and there was a lot of hard choices. So I think that's the same vibe that we're getting here, and I love that the core of the character of the persona stayed the same, and I just think it was executed really, really well. I enjoyed character of Zetian so much. So smart, so resourceful, and also really important. I think I believe that she would count as a disability rep, because when she was younger, her grandma kind of broke her foot to like make them as small as possible and bound her feet, so she can't really walk. I mean, she can walk, but from like she either needs to use a cane or someone needs to carry her, or it's like really painful, really slow. And then also towards the latter half of the novel, I don't want to say why because spoilers, but she ends up using a wheelchair. So at least temporarily, I think. So that was really cool to see, like such I don't know, in Western eye, such a common practice back then, in ancient China and stuff. Well, not ancient, like all China and stuff, the bounding of the feet. But it was really interesting to hear like the cultural reasons behind it, but also like how it impeded the main character's life and how it really symbolized a lot more as well. I really liked how that ended up being handled. I thought it was done really well, and I really enjoyed all of Zetian's character. Then we have Li Ximin, who is the pilot with super high key strength that she gets paired up with. So he's up. I was so confused by his character, and so was the main character, so it kind of made sense. He killed his whole family, or like his brothers and his dad, when he was younger, and then he got sent to prison, but they found out how strong his ki is, so they kind of forced him to be a pilot, and he's like the most respected, not the most respected, the most disrespected probably, the most powerful pilot in the fleet. Yeah, so he is this ruthless, really big, buff, tall guy, really like scowling, all of that, but then turns out he's scowling because he needs glasses, like his glasses are like this big and his eyes get really big, and like he's a big softie, so his character was just so complex and so much fun. And I thought he was going for a himbo route, but he's also a genius, so he's everything. But I really enjoyed his character. I really enjoyed how cute and awkward he was, and yeah, it was just really cool. I really liked how Zetian really grew to love him. And then we have Xiao Zhan. So he is the so I was reading the author's a website of like, because I was looking how to spell his name, and then she said superpower is being rich, lol. So yeah, I mean the lol's mine, but yeah, that's really funny. It's really true. So he is kind of a childhood friend of Zetian. They kept meeting in the woods for like every month or something for like years and years, and became really good friends. He taught her how to read, and like there was like a little romance, but they never acted on it because it's like really frowned upon. So he's kind of in love with Zetian, and he joins the army in order to be near her, and he's like the childhood best friend. And I love him, he's so precious. I especially love the ending. Oh my god, where his character ended up is just I wrote in my notes, did not think I could trust him but at first, but he pulled through, especially the ending, exclamation point. That's what I call standing by your woman. Yeah, so that was awesome. If you know the ending, you know, but it was awesome how he ended up. And like I said, I didn't really trust him at first, but he really pulled through. So the reason I didn't trust him is because I knew there was a polyamorous relationship in this book, because I saw the fan art. So it's a polyamorous relationship between Zetian, Ximin, and Zhan. But I think his position kind of like to the back or something, so his hair is long, and my brain automatically like just thought, oh yeah, so it's like two girls and a boy. So I kept thinking like, which girl's gonna be a part of this polyamorous relationship? But there was no one that was introduced like 50-60% into the book, and I was like, I'm not gonna buy this romance if I don't meet like the love interests at least like 30-40%. So I thought he would be like the betrayer or something, because I was like, where does he fit into this? And then I looked at the fan art again and realized he's a boy, so it's two boys and a girl, so it's the three of them. So I was like, oh, I see, okay, fair enough. And I actually really love the polyamorous relationship. I feel like sometimes maybe authors would use a polyamorous relationship more like to be edgy or something. So I was a little bit worried that just feel a little tacked on, but no, this relationship is like the backbone of the plot, and it's really important to the plot, and each part of it is crucial, and how the plot develops, the relationship itself is really important, and I thought it was handled really well. Yeah, I really loved how it was handled, although I thought I'd go further, but I don't know if that was part of the catching it for YA. I just thought like the polyamorous relationship would be consummated with the three of them, which kind of didn't happen, but like I know that it's not be all end all, but at the same time I was just surprised because I thought that's what would happen. So I think that might have been part that was changed when it became YA, which is interesting because the two straight pairings were consummated. So I don't know, but yeah, I really loved how it was handled overall. I think the fact that it was so important to the story, to the plot, and not just tacked on, really important to me. And I love how it was how it was done. Yeah, really kudos to the author, because I thought it was handled really well. Okay, now let's talk about themes. So there are many a theme in this book. I wrote down some that I could think of, which is like gender roles, culture and tradition, shame and using it to subjugate, probably a bit about empires and imperialism, and environmentalism, the polyamory. Like I said, gender roles, patriarchy, big theme, especially in the cultural sense of and setting, and how women were told they were the weaker sex and therefore behaved like a weaker sex, at least in this setting, and how people used shame to really subjugate people and control them. And the shame that you feel is kind of like self-made, and once you let go of this shame, you can do anything. And I think that was a big lesson that the main character learned, and I loved it. So things like sexual liberation, or just any kind of liberation, really. Like the character, I love how she stepped back and she was like, why am I so scared and pushing back against this? Why is it bothering me so much? And then she'd be like, shame is such a big part of it, and that's how they're using it to subjugate us and control us. And once I let go of it, I feel free, and I love that. I just absolutely love how that was handled. There was definitely a lot of like processing from the author as well, because I know they like their parents didn't want them to be a writer initially, and then and they're non-binary, and they come from China, so it must have been hard to work that out. And I feel like this book is part of working that out. And there was also a lot about gender and gender expression and gender identity, because the yin and yang, which is the female and male energy, are a big part of it. But then even yin and yang have a little bit of each other. And I just loved how that was explored as well, and how the main character kept saying, well, she said multiple times that she doesn't like being a woman, but does she not like being a woman because she doesn't feel like a woman? Not really. It's more like the societal expectations placed upon women and the societal limits put on women. That's what's stifling. And if she was a boy, she'd have the world at her feet, basically. Someone even said, like, I think if you were a boy, you'd be ruling the world or something like that. It was just such a deep, nuanced conversation. I loved it. I loved how it was handled. Like I said, there was a little bit towards the end about imperialism and environmentalism. So I think that's going to become a big part of the next book, because it kind of ties towards the end and the plot twist and the epilogue and all of that. So I think it's definitely going to be explored more in the sequel. I'm actually not sure if it's a duology. There's only like one more book on Goodreads. I'm not sure if it's a series or just a duology. But yeah, I loved touching upon those themes and discussing them. It was done masterfully, and I really enjoyed it. Probably enough for me. I think you should read the book for yourself and see what you think. I mean, if you already did read it, let me know, do you agree with my thoughts? Overall, I love the book. I give it 5 stars. I am gonna buy a physical copy. This happened to me several times where I was so excited for a pre-order, and I read it early, or I ended up having an audio ebook first, or I got an ARC, and then I didn't want to buy the book because I didn't like it that much. So I was worried this would happen because I love the cover. But no, at first thing I was like, I'm buying a physical copy, and I'm having it in my favorites of the year video and shouting about it from the rooftops. Honestly, amazing book, amazing story, amazing author. I'm so excited to see what else they come up with, because beautiful. I'm so excited about the sequel. The fact we have to wait for like at least a year probably, like I cannot wait that long. I need more. Safe to say, read it. Read Iron Widow, pre-order it. This video comes out before the book comes out, so you still have time to pre-order it. Show your support to the author. Get that beautiful cover, get that beautiful story. I love it. I'm gonna definitely reread it before reading the second book as well, so I'm just so hyped already. Oh, there's so many good quotes. I'm dying. Like, they were so good. And like, go pre-order the book, go enjoy it, go talk about it with me. If you end up reading the arc or are here after the book comes out, let me know. What did you think? Did you enjoy the book? I would love to know. I really hope you did. I really hope you did. I hope you enjoyed this video as well. If you did, you can leave a comment, like, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. I do a lot of reviews at least once a month, a new release. So if you're into that kind of thing, maybe again, maybe subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.